Well, let's in fact begin by getting you all the updates coming in thick and fast on the political crisis in Maharashtra. Here's some breaking inputs coming in. Shiv Sena workers' protest now aggravated. Offices of two rebel Sena MLAs vandalized. Rebel MLA Mangesh Kundalkar's office vandalized in Kurla. Another rebel MLA Dilip Lande's office in Mumbai's Chandivali also vandalized. Well, Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray put up a brave front earlier today as he made another emotional speech, the second one in 2 days, this at a time when his government is on the brink of a collapse. He's ruled out any alliance with the BJP and challenged the rebel MLAs to continue without Shiv Sena and Bala Sahib's name. Bulk of Shiv Sena's MLAs have turned rebel. Uddhav's son Aditya Thackeray also slammed the rebels, saying that they are headed from the government to the opposition now. Uddhav Thackeray has also scheduled another meeting with Mumbai civic body councillors this evening. The emergency meeting comes after Thane Municipal Corporation Ward Councillor extended support to Eknath Shinde. NCP's top leaders, including the Pawars, are all set to meet Uddhav shortly. The BJP, while saying that they have nothing to do with the developments happening in Shiv Sena, BJP MLC has written to the governor about the rising instability in the Maharashtra government.
मी एकदा थेट बोलूनच त्यांना विचारलं की असं असं कानावर येतंय. नाही मी असं कसं वागेन. ते म्हटलं खोटं असेल आणि खोटं असावं असं माझं म्हणणं आहे. खोटं असेल तर काहीच मुद्दा नाहीये, नसेल तर स्पष्ट सांगा. नाही आपण भाजप सोबत जायला पाहिजे असा काही आमदारांचा माझ्यावरती एक दबाव आहे. ज्या भाजपाने माझ्यावरती मातोश्रीवरती म्हटलं आरोप केल्यानंतर तुमचं रक्त नाही सळसळत. मातोश्रीवरती वेडवाकट काही बोलल्यानंतर तुमचं रक्त गरम होत नाही. कसली शिवसैनिक तुम्ही. बाळासाहेबांची शिवसेना संपलेली आहे, उद्धवची शिवसेना वेगळी आहे, ह्याची शिवसेना वेगळी आहे. अहो, ठाकरे आणि शिवसेना ही दोन नावं, दोन शब्द वेगळे करून तुम्ही शिवसेना चालून दाखवाच. माझं आज सुद्धा आव्हान आहे. काढा बाळासाहेबांचाही फोटो वापरायचा नाही. मी तर नालायकच आहे. माझा फोटो लावूच नका. पण बाळासाहेबांचाही फोटो न लावता तुम्ही शिवसेना नावाने जगून दाखवा आणि ठाकरे नावाशिवाय जगून दाखवा.
इथे एक अशी व्यक्ती आणि थोडीफार टोळी त्यांची सत्ताधारी पक्षातून विरोधी पक्षात चाललेले आहेत. ह्याचं मला आश्चर्य वाटतं. म्हणजे काय कौतुक करायचं त्यात, त्यांच्यावर किती बोलायचं, काय बोलायचं हा एक प्रश्न आहे. कारण किती किंमत द्यायची त्या अशा लोकांना जे स्वतःची किंमत लावून विकत तिथे गेलेले आहेत, विकून गेलेले आहेत. धोका मित्रपक्षाने दिला असतं तर समजू शकलो असतो. हे काही आपल्याला नवीन नाही की चला मित्रपक्ष कुठचं तरी सोडून दिलंय. पण दोन मित्रपक्ष जे आपल्या 25 वर्ष विरोधात होते, आपण त्यांच्या विरोधात लढलो, ते सोबत आले आणि ते सतत सांगतात की आम्ही उद्धव साहेबांच्या सोबत आहोत, उद्धवजींच्या सोबत आहोत. असे मित्रपक्ष आपल्याला लाभलेले आहेत. पण धोका कोणी द्यावा? तर आपल्याच माणसांनी द्यावा ज्यांना आपण पुढे आणलं.
Okay, let me go across to my colleagues. Abhishek joining me from Guwahati and Sandeep joining me from outside Devendra Fadnavis's residence. Coming to you first, Abhishek. The last we spoke to the rebel side in an exclusive interaction. Mr. Kesarkar, a rebel MLA, said that they are now simply waiting to see whether their letter confirming that they have 37 on their side and more is accepted or not, is recognized or not. Now, is that the reality that you are picking up, that here is a bunch of MLAs who have consolidated themselves, the rebel side is consolidated, they want to be recognized as a separate unit, and the moment they are done, moment that is done, only then will they return? Is that why this wait and watch game is going on in Guwahati?
See, definitely, it is their strategy, Shinde camp strategy, that they get the status of a separate group and then they withdraw the support from Mahavikas Aghadi government. The government will collapse. Governor will ask for the floor test. Then they will fly from here directly to the assembly and vote in the floor test. But Mahavikas Agadi by filing, Sena by filing a petition before the same deputy speaker, where they have also filed the petition seeking a separate group. Sena has filed a petition for seeking expulsion or disqualification of 16 rebel MLAs. Now, Kesarkar clearly said that if the deputy speaker is listening to their petition, he should also listen to our petition. And if he is biased, then they are planning to move a no confidence motion against the deputy speaker. So definitely, both the strategies are at its place, but both the parties are forming the counter strategy. Now, what we are coming to know from the sources is by tomorrow, as Kesarkar also said that, they are going to file a no confidence motion against the deputy speaker. And remember, the deputy speaker is from the MVA group. He is from NCP. So definitely, they are alleging that he might be biased. And if the deputy speaker takes the call and 16 of them are expelled or disqualified, definitely then it will be a big trouble. Then the anti-defection law will come to place and rest of them will directly be disqualified and the entire strength of assembly.
So I wanted to come to that
shrunk.
point, Abhishek. And the fact is only 16 of them, Mr. Thackeray feels, should be disqualified. Now this is interesting, isn't it? Which means the Thackeray side of the strategy is break the breakaway faction. To what extent is that likely to succeed? Can this faction be broken? Because they are not saying we seek disqualification for all, only 16, which means the idea is to break the breakaway faction, which is with Eknath Shinde. Is that the strategy?
Definitely, the strategy is exactly the same, and the strategy revolves around not letting them to reach the 37 mark anyhow, either by disqualification or either by any, if some of them land in Mumbai and have a discussion, they are still hopeful. Back channel talks are still going on, and they believe that twice after the emotional appeal, some of the rebellion MLA will bounce back to the original cadre, and then the number might decrease at the time of floor test.
Yes.
And these are the pressure tactics which are going on. Definitely, you can see they have disturbed the strategy of Shinde camp by putting a petition of 16 disqualification in front of the deputy speaker. That's the reason strategies are being formulated
yes, we have
right
been speaking
now
to
inside
both
the
sides.
hotel.
The other side also
going
says that
ahead
you can't
against
use these
the
strong-arm
speaker.
tactics from a remote location and expect to gain sanctity as a separate unit with these letters coming in from Guwahati. For that, they have to be present. So that's another point of view. Let me go across to Sandeep as well, who is outside Fadnavis's residence. So, Sandeep, the question here is for the BJP, of course, this is a lot of suspense and anxiety. Clearly, the party wants to pounce on to this breakaway faction and stake claim. And many believe that that was the whole idea and the genesis of this rebellion. It is sparked by the BJP. What is happening in Fadnavis's residence? What is the BJP doing at the moment in the middle of all this?
See, Afrida, there is a pin drop silence before, a blast. It is that kind of situation out here at Devendra Fadnavis' residence, and marathon meetings are underway out here at Devendra Fadnavis' residence. Remember, what Devendra Fadnavis yesterday secretly went to Delhi, had a meeting with the Home Minister Amit Shah and JP Nadda, the senior party chief of BJP, and briefed him about the situation of the current state of Maharashtra. Now, BJP is, nowhere in a point to lose at this point of time. As Abhishek was mentioning, that there are chances that, Shiv Sena or the MVA may bring, the Eknath Shinde camp, in fact, may bring a no confidence motion against Deputy Speaker. They may also switch to Governor and ask to take action against the action that has been taken, or the move taken by Shiv Sena, in fact. And at that point of time, they may also switch to court seeking that this kind of action is illegal. So until and unless, there is, until and unless these MLAs come to Mumbai and extend their support by giving a letter of support to BJP, till then, nothing is gonna happen. And although Shiv Sena is making stand, Uddhav Thackeray, in fact, took an aggressive stand against the rebel MLAs and stated that there could not be Shiv Sena without Balasaheb Thackeray. And
but you know what is important for the
want,
BJP today, at least to understand, is that Mr. Thackeray has made his position clear. Mr. Uddhav Thackeray says no chance of aligning or going back to the BJP. So that's the big takeaway, in fact, where he has ruled out the possibility of the Uddhav Thackeray faction, at least, joining hands with the BJP. I want to bring in Ketan at this point. Ketan, in the speech that Mr. Uddhav Thackeray made, he asked the rebel MLAs that why would you even think of going back to the BJP? It's the party that abused Matoshri. You claim to be the true Shiv Senics. You claim to be Balasaheb loyalists. How can you go with a party that has abused Matoshri? Will this kind of emotional appeal work, or there needs to be something more than that for Uddhav Thackeray to reclaim the lost ground?
Well, yeah, Afrida. So clearly, Uddhav Thackeray was addressing multiple constituencies here. One, his target was the Shiv Senics, the common Shiv Senics and the Shiv Sena voters, to whom he made an emotional appeal. And he left no stone unturned. He launched a direct attack on the rebels and their claims that this is no longer Balasaheb Shiv Sena. And he said this second time in 3 days. Because I remember when he did the first Facebook Live, he reiterated that if you have problem with the current Shiv Sena, if you are making us feel guilty about our Hindutva, and if you feel that BJP is the real original brand of Hindutva, and we have collided with the secular forces, then didn't you realize this all this while? Because mind you, after the patriarch Balasaheb Thackeray passed away in 2012, since then Uddhav Thackeray has taken charge of Shiv Sena, and be it Eknath Shinde or be it many of these rebels, they have won election after election under his leadership. They have got all the cushy portfolios. In 2014 also Shiv Sena aligned with the BJP, and Eknath Shinde had got a portfolio. So he hit where it hurt the most, and he questioned the rebels. So and he questioned Eknath Shinde, to be specific. So clearly he made an emotional appeal. At the same time, he hinted that the party will last sans you or without you. But what will happen to your political future? So clearly Uddhav Thackeray is trying to convince the MLAs who are still in Guwahati. And the fact, and I spoke to his office, I spoke to his media advisor last night, why only 12? And today the Shiv Sena has asked for suspension of 16 MLAs, whereas the rebel MLAs are around 35. So they still feel that these 20 are allegedly kidnapped by the rebel group with support from BJP.
Yes, the fact of the matter is that here is a rebel camp where loyalties are shifting. And yes, and the loyalties are shifting. Therefore, it's some level of insecurity as well, perhaps for Mr. Shinde to be staying put in Guwahati, because he's not sure. If he returns, will he be able to keep the flock together? Perhaps that is one reason why this delay in coming back as a separate unit, as a single unit, as the Shinde camp is claiming to be. I want to bring in Shweta here. Shweta, last time around, when a crisis happened, it was because of the NCP. There was prompt firefighting by Mr. Pawar. Overnight, things changed and Ajit Pawar came back to the fold. That's the level of political acumen that Mr. Sharad Pawar has. What has happened this time? The NCP has been reduced to a mute spectator. Mr. Pawar seems powerless.
Well, Afrida, that's the question of the hour when everyone is seeking answer for this. 72 hours have passed by, but there's no concrete political plan which has been coming out from NCP and Congress. for the Sena, although they have been saying that they have their extended full support to Sena, but there is nothing strategically, nothing is coming out, and this is third day where we are seeing Shinde camp getting their MLAs high on numbers. It's around 40 now. But yes, you talk about Sharad Pawar. There's a crucial meeting which is ongoing with CM Uddhav Thackeray, including Deputy CM Ajit Pawar and senior leaders like Jayant Patil and Praful Patil. These leaders are having a meeting. They are into discussion, but yes, concrete things are not coming out. And remember, when it comes to Sharad Pawar has also said that to Uddhav Thackeray that you maintain your stand. You have to be firm on your stance, stating that let other MLAs go, but Shiv Sena will remain intact. And hence, this is what even Uddhav Thackeray has been doing. He has been making.
So the strategy is visible, Shweta, to a certain extent. It might have come from Mr. Pawar as well, that try to break the breakaway faction, which is why the notice to only 16, not to the entire lot. Will that strategy work? Well, this is a developing situation. Thanks very much for joining us, Abhishek, Sandeep, Ketan and Shweta, for giving us your inputs. Let's take a short break here. When we return, we'll talk about the race to the rise in our hill. Spotlight once again on identity politics being played over the choice of presidential candidates. Stay tuned.